Congressman Jonathan Jackson is a Democrat representing Illinois' 1st District in the U.S. House, and he is joining us now from Chicago. And Congressman, here we are, starting day 2 of this shutdown, and I first want to know what your caucus, what Democrats in the House are doing to move closer to reopening government, and if there has been any discussions with Republicans right now.
Well, the Democrats, we were in Washington, D.C. on yesterday, the day before, prepared for work. The Republicans were a no-show. This has been a ruse, if you will. If it weren't affecting so many people, you could call it a frost, but this is a fraud that's being communicated by the Republican Party. Republicans are in charge of the executive branch. They are in charge of the House of Representatives, and in some ways they have too much influence over the United States Supreme Court. The Republicans have the keys. They've boasted about every bill that they've passed on a partisan basis, and now they're trying to take this last bit of this health care cut and cram it down the poorest, most vulnerable people in the nation. 80 million people rely upon the Medicaid system, and 18 to 16 million people will lose their benefits and their coverage. And we put a stake in the ground and said, no more. This has to stop. People are trying to give the president the benefit of the doubt, but he has been ruthless and reckless in attacking the poor.
Let's talk about President Trump, because he seems to be prepared to use this moment to slim the federal workforce even more. Take a listen to what his press secretary, Caroline Leavitt, and Senator Ted Cruz had to say about it, and then I want to get your reaction on the other side.
We believe that layoffs are imminent. They are, unfortunately, a consequence of this government shutdown.
I think that is fantastic, and what it's going to do is it's going to cause Democrats in Congress to scream and weep.
So, Congressman, is that the effect?
Yes, the budget, first, sometimes it's the debt ceiling that they've tried to impose, and now that they're not concerned about the debt or the deficit, now they've passed on their tax cuts to the wealthiest people. Now they're going to use this whole idea of the Medicaid and saying that there's fraudulent waste, fraud, and abuse. Mr. Elon Musk said he was going to tackle that. He first said he was going to go in and save $2 trillion, then $1 trillion. Then he ended up saying they've secured $150 billion. Where are the people that they wanted to say were abusing the system? People that are not citizens do not qualify for the Medicaid. I mean, they ought to read the law. There's no rampant abuse in there. The effect of this has been in the past, more poor people have been kicked off of the system without being guaranteed any work. So they're saying they're doing it for the purpose of work requirements. Where are they going to work? Sure, there's work to be done, and we are all for that, but this is not that purpose. This is weaponizing these cuts, and the target has always been Medicaid. This is not by coincidence.
Well, Congressman, for those at home who may not be following every single turn of this shutdown, explain for us why. Why are Democrats using this particular moment to try and get movement on health care? Why not, over the last handful of months leading up to this, why not pass temporary funding with a continuing resolution so people aren't out of work or paychecks while making your argument with Republicans and working on some sort of compromise? Why?
Well, we have been and have continuously tried. Under the leadership of Leader Jeffries, they've been willing to have this conversation. The Republicans have been no-show. They're no-show in Washington today. It's the same pattern. It's just now come to the attention of millions of Americans that the Republicans stopped doing town halls. There was not one debate on the one big ugly bill, not one. Under the Affordable Care Act, there were over 100, and they had their amendments accepted. Not one Democratic amendment was accepted. There was not one debate regarding this $5 trillion tax giveaway. So that's an appropriate question for Speaker Johnson. They've never had a debate that you and I can refer to.
Well, Congressman, I'd like to know potentially what you are hearing from your constituents about this. Are you feeling pressure one way or another? And at what point does party unity begin to fracture to pressure? How long can this go?
Well, look at the consequence if there is no unity. We're going to have 5 hospitals closed in the city of Chicago. Healthcare providers are now beginning to pull out of certain markets because they can see what's coming. We know that that the insurance rates are going to increase substantially, some even double. We've heard from people that have children on the spectrum of autism that are guaranteed certain levels of care that will have it lost if this coverage has been removed. It's cruel. And at the same time, we're talking about giving more tax breaks to the wealthiest people in the nation. If we don't have the money, I understand it, but they're passing the money to the wealthiest people. We want to see functioning hospitals. We want to see children going to school. This has become a disaster. This program has already been implemented in Arkansas and in Georgia. And what was the effect? Tens of thousands of people having been cut off. They're trying to increase the work reporting requirements, not showing people where there is work. And then what they're doing is it was struck down in Georgia by a federal court because they said, you've kicked off 95,000 people, and this is cruelty. They kicked off 18,000 people in the state of Arkansas just by trying to manipulate work requirements. This program came into existence with Medicare at the same time as Medicaid. What does it cover? 41 million people. Who's going to be affected? 16 million people can be kicked off just by them playing around with the formula. There is no wage fraud and abuse in the system. They've never shown any receipts. They've never come forward with anything like that. And now you're going to see people in great misery. So the Democrats said, enough is enough. We're not going to see people's insurance skyrocket. At the same time, you're passing off tax breaks to the 1%.
And we'll see just how much pain for everyday Americans it will take before something gives here. Congressman, there is so much more that I would like to cover with you, but I've run out of time for now, so I hope that you will come and join us again. Congressman Jonathan Jackson, thank you.
Thank you.